20 miles west of Tucson, the Sunset Express train made a quick stop to refill its water tank. But it didn't just get water. Something far less welcome boarded the train, too. While the train crew was busy with the water hose, 3 men climbed onto the engine. There was Bob Tidball, Shark Dodson, and a half-Native American man called John Big Dog. Each of them was carrying a gun, and when the engineer saw the barrels pointed at him, he immediately raised his hands as if to say, "All right, I get it." Shark, the leader, ordered the engineer to climb down and uncouple the engine and tender the part that carries coal and water. John Big Dog, sitting casually on the coal pile with 2 guns, told the engineer and fireman to drive the engine 50 yards ahead and wait there. They didn't dare refuse. Meanwhile, Shark and Bob went straight for the real prize, the express car, where all the valuables were kept. The messenger inside had no idea the train was picking up more than just water. Bob quickly knocked some sense into him with the back of his pistol, while Shark got to work blowing open the safe with dynamite. When the dust cleared, they had $30,000 in cash and gold. As the safe exploded, curious passengers poked their heads out of the windows, thinking they'd heard thunder. The conductor tried pulling the bell rope to sound an alarm, but it hung limp. It wasn't working. Shark and Bob, now holding a canvas bag stuffed with loot, ran back to the engine. Running in their stiff, high-heeled boots wasn't graceful, but they made it. The engineer, though clearly upset, wisely followed their orders and drove the engine away from the rest of the train. But just as they started moving, the express messenger recovered from Bob's blow, grabbed a rifle, and decided to fight back. He fired a shot and hit John Big Dog square between the shoulder blades. John fell off the train, dead, leaving the other 2 robbers with an unexpected bonus. Now they didn't have to split the money 3 ways. About 2 miles from the stop, Shark and Bob told the engineer to halt, waving a mocking goodbye. They jumped off and headed down a steep hill into the woods. After crashing through thick bushes for a few minutes, they reached a clearing where 3 horses were tied up, waiting for them. One horse had been for John Big Dog, but since he wasn't going anywhere anymore, they took off its saddle and bridle and let it go. Then they mounted the other 2 horses, strapped the bag of loot across one saddle, and rode fast and carefully through the forest. They made their way up a remote, quiet canyon. But trouble struck again. Bob's horse slipped on a mossy rock and broke its leg. Without hesitation, they shot the injured horse to put it out of its misery. Then, they sat down to figure out their next move. For now, they were safe. They'd taken a tricky trail that would slow down anyone chasing them. With time on their side, Shark's horse wandered nearby, munching on grass while catching its breath. Bob opened the bag of money, grabbed fistfuls of cash and gold, and laughed like a kid who just got a giant bag of candy. "Hey, you sneaky old pirate," Bob called out to Dodson with a big grin. "You said we could pull this off, and man, you were right. You've got a brain for money schemes that beats anything I've ever seen in Arizona." "What are we gonna do about a horse for you, Bob?" Dodson asked. "We can't stick around here too long. They'll be on our trail by sunrise." "Don't worry about it," Bob replied, always the optimist. "Your horse can carry both of us for a while. We'll just snag the first horse we come across." But wow, we really hit the jackpot, didn't we? By the looks of it, there's $30,000 here, $15,000 each. "It's less than I thought it'd be," Dodson muttered, giving the money a soft kick with his boot. Then he glanced at his exhausted horse, Bolivar, whose sides were damp with sweat. "Old Bolivar's just about done for," he said slowly. "I really wish your horse hadn't gotten hurt." "Yeah, me too," Bob agreed, "but what can you do? Bolivar's tough. He'll get us far enough to find new horses." "You know, Shark, I can't help but laugh at how funny this all is. You're an Easterner, and yet you come out here and outdo us Western guys at being outlaws. Where in the East are you from anyway?" "New York State," Dodson said as he sat down on a rock and started chewing on a twig. "I grew up on a farm in Ulster County. I ran away when I was 17. Coming west wasn't really planned. It just kinda happened. I was walking to New York City with my clothes tied up in a bundle. I figured I'd go there and make a lot of money. I always believed I could. One evening, I came to a fork in the road and didn't know which way to go. I stood there thinking for about half an hour and finally picked the left-hand road. That night, I stumbled into the camp of a traveling Wild West show. And that's how I ended up heading out west. Sometimes, I wonder if my life would have been different if I'd taken the other road." I don't think it would have made much difference," Bob said, shrugging. "It's not about the roads we take. It's about who we are on the inside that decides how we turn out." Dodson got up and leaned against a tree. "I really wish your horse hadn't gotten hurt, Bob," he said again, this time sounding almost sad. "Yeah, same here," Bob said with a sigh. "He was a good horse for sure, but don't worry, Bolivar will get us through. Let's get moving. I'll pack up this money and we'll hit the trail to find some higher ground." Bob stuffed the money back into the bag and tied it tightly. But when he looked up, the first thing he saw was the barrel of Shark Dodson's pistol pointed straight at him. Steady as a rock. "Quit messing around," Bob said with a nervous laugh. "We need to get moving." "Stay where you are," Shark said. "You're not going anywhere, Bob. I hate to say it, but only one of us is getting out of here. Bolivar's too tired, and he can't carry two people." Bob looked at him calmly. We've been partners for 3 years, Shark. We've risked our necks together over and over. I've always treated you fair, and I thought you were a decent guy. Sure, I've heard some strange stories about you shooting a few men in shady ways, but I never believed them. Now, if this is just a joke, put that gun away, and let's ride out of here on Bolivar. But if you're serious, then go ahead and shoot, you black-hearted snake. Shark's face twisted with what looked like sadness. You don't know how bad I feel about your horse breaking his leg, Bob, he said with a sigh. But in a flash, his expression turned ice cold. His greed and true nature showed for just a moment, like an evil face peeking through the window of an otherwise respectable house. Bob Tidball never got the chance to escape. Shark's pistol roared through the canyon, and the sound echoed angrily off the walls. Bolivar, unaware of the betrayal he was part of, galloped off with Shark on his back, free of the burden of carrying 2 riders. As Shark Dodson rode away, the forest around him began to fade. The gun in his hand turned into the curved armrest of a mahogany chair. His saddle changed to a plush office chair, and his feet weren't in stirrups. They were resting comfortably on the edge of a polished oak desk. Dodson, now revealed to be a Wall Street broker with the firm Dodson and Decker, opened his eyes. Standing beside him was Peabody, his trusted assistant, looking hesitant to interrupt. Outside, the buzz of the city traffic mixed with the hum of an electric fan in the office. Peabody, Dodson said, blinking and shaking off the dream. I must have dozed off. I had the strangest dream. What's going on? Mr. Williams, sir, from Tracy and Williams, is here to settle his deal in XYZ stocks, Peabody explained. The market hit him hard, if you remember. Yes, I remember. What's XYZ trading at today? Dodson asked. 185, sir, Peabody replied. Then that's his price, Dodson said firmly. Peabody hesitated, looking nervous. Sir, if I may, Williams is an old friend of yours. And, well, you practically control the market on XYZ stock. He sold it to you at 98, and if he pays the current price, it'll ruin him. He'll lose everything. His savings, his home, all of it. In an instant, Dodson's face turned cold, his greed shining through like a flash of lightning. For a moment, his soul was visible, a ruthless, calculating man beneath his polished exterior. He'll settle at 185, Dodson said coldly. Bolivar can't carry double.